Welcome back. A little windy today, so I'm going to try to talk as loud as I can. Storms, I don't know, are coming today. Probably will actually get bad. I normally blow off the weathermen because they're always wrong. Got a feeling today, based on the way this old building's moving, that they might be right. So I'll talk as loud as I can so y'all can hear me. We're going to talk about the current project we have sitting here, some future projects, a little bit of tool review kind of thing. So let's kind of get started this morning. This is the 70 Impala. You've seen it in some other videos. It's the 70 Impala convertible. Rachel helped us do the tune-up on this car. It's set for 10 plus years. Owner just wanted to get it running to start with, just see what he had. We kind of got it running. Carburetor wasn't exactly right, but he didn't want to put a lot of money into it at that time. He wanted to drive a little bit, see what it needed, then decide where he wanted to put his money from there. He has decided to put money in his carburetor, so instead of trying to build the Holley that was on it, I'll show you that here. Nothing wrong with this carburetor, except they don't tend to build well, especially if they've been sitting with fuel in them for a long period of time. And this one had. It may have built fine, and it may not have been. As you've heard us talk many times about, it's not so much the water part of ethanol you have to worry about, it's just how corrosive it is. And oftentimes what you'll find when you get inside those is that it's just eat up inside. And that's probably what's wrong with that one, is it just does not run smooth, doesn't idle smooth, completely untunable at this point. And for about $350, you can buy a nice new carburetor. And if you were paying a shop, you know, 50, 60 bucks an hour plus the parts, the new carburetor makes more sense because you're gonna get a lot of different advantages from it as well. Several years ago, we teamed up with Tim up at RPM Performance. You won't find a Facebook page, you won't find a website for him. He does have an eBay store, I will include a link. Tim's got 30 years experience building carburetors. He prefers the Quick Fuel line. It's in the Holley family, but it is a separate carburetor to itself. The Quick Fuel carburetors are all ethanol compliant, all the gaskets are coated so that will reduce the amount of corrosion over time. And they're much more tunable. The thing about buying from Tim is for the same price you can buy in the catalog for, he'll actually put it on a live engine, not just a flow bench, run it, tune it to the altitude you're going to drive it, your driving conditions, your weight, your vehicle, your gear ratio, transmission, what you plan to do with it, air, non-air. He will tune that carburetor for you for free. So we've been doing this one for a number of years and just bought two from him. This is the little Quick Fuel that we're going to be replacing that Holley with. These things have a much better acceleration and an on-the-fly tunable vacuum secondary. Just a little set screw in the side, and we can adjust how quickly or how slowly the secondaries kick in. Choke setups on these are a whole lot better. If you're like me and you've been doing this a long time, you know the Holleys are great. They tend to have a little weird fast idle circuit to them, and you can control a little, adjust a little bit of that out, a little bit of it, well, you just never get right. These Quick Fuels come out of the box right. I've never had a problem with idle circuits. Are nice. They don't go through crazy revs and having to tap the throttle 2 or 3 times, tap the throttle once, it settles down. It's a happy carburetor. So that's what we're gonna be putting on this engine today. Hold on, I did forget to grab something. So this 350 was originally a Quadrajet 4-barrel motor. If we had the original Quadrajet, I might have attempted to build it. Most people don't like them. I am still a fan. We didn't. So when you're adapting a square flange like these Holleys are on the base to a spread bore Quadrajet style intake, the old adapter plates like we always grew up using, this one's actually a phenolic one. Most of them you see are aluminum. Work great. This one's just a straight, but you see these a lot as square to flange adapters as well. That's not the right way to do it. The right way to do it is with a transition plate. This Elderbrock 2696, there are a bunch of knockoffs. They work just as well. The local parts store had this one in stock. I grabbed it so we could, when we put this together, we could do it correctly. I was very surprised, and I didn't take it off the engine, but it actually had one on it. So, but if you don't have one, they're $30 for the Eldebrock brand, $14 for the knockoffs. The knockoffs work just as well. Typically, I'll include the information for Tim, his phone number, and eBay store link in the description. If you decide to buy a carburetor from him, he typically has them in stock. He did not in this case, so that's why we had to go a little bit of looking. But the transition plate will give you a smoother idle, better performance throughout the band, and allow the intake to work the way it was designed to work, but with a little enhanced improvement by adding the spacer. Keep in mind though, when you add the spacers, you're moving your horsepower and torque up in RPM. In this case, it's not going to matter that much, but because we have to have it anyway. Typically, if you're looking for that low end torque, you're going to keep it down closer to the carburetor. If you're looking for the higher RPM horsepower, then you'll start stacking them up. Not always the case, but the rules of thumb. So hopefully, here in a little bit, we'll have the 70 Impala running on the road. This carburetor change shouldn't take long. All right, tools. Yes. So there's a Chevrolet truck behind me over on the other side of the shop you can't see right now. That spark plug hole number 3 on a 92 Chevrolet truck is the one that will make you say bad things. Just because it's sitting with the heat shields, the manifold, and the steering column, so there's just not a lot of room. So someone over the years had put a plug in it, got the threads a little cocked, pulled the threads, didn't strip them, pulled them. Like to never got the plug out. Whole lot of penetrating oil, a lot of time, just one small turn at a time, try not to break anything, and it did come apart. Putting a plug back in it though wasn't an option the way it was, because it was just going to continue to mangle the thread. So a little trivia, we'll see if you know the answer. I won't tell you in this video, but if you know, and I'm sure there are plenty of people who do, no Google. If you know, you know. If you don't, you don't. Put it in the comments. How long have spark plug threads been metric, and are they all metric? Let me know if you know the answer. So what do? I got a steel head, and yes, I will answer this part for you. Spark plug threads are a separate pitch, so you want to make sure you match the right thread and pitch to that plug. So in standard tap set's not going to have that. Maybe your bigger ones, but most of the ones I have don't. Let's put it that way. Quick call to the local auto parts store, AutoZone in this case, and they had an OEM tool on the shelf. This guy right here. So, in case you didn't know, small block Chevrolet is a 14 by 1.25 pitch metric thread. So, this is the thread chaser. I didn't want to drill it with a helical. Yeah, you could do that, but it's a steel head, 250,000 mile motor. I just want to put a plug back in it. I mean, the motor runs great, doesn't use oil, it doesn't smoke, doesn't knock, doesn't rattle. Tearing into that motor is Pandora's box. And yes, I may have been able to drill it in the truck, maybe I couldn't. Would have been a fun video, probably with a lot of sound over the bleeps, because you probably wouldn't want the audio from that. Anyway, this little tool is just a thread chaser. It uses a 13/16 plug socket, pops on, gives you both 18 and 14 millimeter threads. Looked a little big, actually worked really well because it's about the length of a spark plug. Went right in, cleaned the threads up, plug went straight in just as smooth as glass. I did add a little grease to that plug and just to make sure it's skirting it out nice. And when you do this, always coat your tap threads with grease. Most of y'all should know that, but if you don't, because it will help catch any of the metal filings. So that and a little compressed air afterwards and a shot of WD-40 to rinse it out good, and plug went in. So remember, grease is your friend when you're running tap in holes that you can't get the shavings out of. So, more tools. It was a sad day, about a month ago, I guess now. My favorite ratchet broke. And being a small shop, the trucks don't come by here. I've had a few offer over the years because we do a lot of work here, but I'd rather put my money into other things like the mini hot rods I have around here. And I do love my tools. I was a Craftsman guy for years because it seemed to be the most quality for buck. We don't have a Sears anymore. Sears sold Craftsman. Craftsman's now Stanley. Not saying it's a bad product, but it's not the original Craftsman in my box. So we've been looking for a solution for a number of years, and I've tried everything in the world. A couple of years ago, we bought out a CarQuest that was going out of business. We bought all the front and a lot of the back. And I got this little cheap, and it was the first higher tooth count ratchet I've ever had. I've had it several years now. This guy right here. Again, I'll show him to you. And you may notice something on the back. Yeah, the selector switch is broken. All the pulling, beating, rubber hammer banging I've done to this thing, and that's what broke. I cried a little, you know, it is manly to do that. It's okay. Especially when your favorite tool is now, I won't say completely unusable, but, well, it's, yeah. Anyway, so what do? CarQuest doesn't exist anymore. I remember there's been something about a lifetime warranty. I did go chase the company that the tool still kind of exists, but finding a seller for it was not happening, and the company was not responding to my emails or phone calls. So I was like, you know what? I got to solve this tool problem. We've been looking at Harbor Freight stuff. We've been looking at other things. Advanced is the one who bought out CarQuest, and I had gone by there first, and this was the closest thing they had, and I bought it just to play with it. But what I want you to notice, it's a nice little offset handle. Has the push button socket release that I like this one did. But check out the size of the difference in these. Check that out. This guy just fit places that this one doesn't. And I know this is 72. This is only 60, so the arc length is a little different, but this is still my favorite ratchet. And this one didn't fit it. I've actually been using this one quite a bit. This offset handle and the grip on it is actually a really good setup. And I've been running it. I like it actually. But on that spark plug the other night, I really needed this guy. So in looking around and loving toys as I do, I found this Crescent wrench brand, 120 teeth. Good Lord. I mean, and that's a click. And you can't even blink in front of the camera, that's a click. And again, the head is close, but it's still not my ratchet. And you'll also notice it does not have a push button socket release. At the time, I wasn't as concerned about that, but, well, you know. So we tried that. I wasn't overly joyed. That one has a place. It doesn't get grabbed that often. Harbor Freight has a more professional line. Unfortunately, they're not carrying all the other sockets they used to carry, which kind of sucks, but ratchets, I should say. At least the one here in town doesn't. But they have this Icon brand. There we go. It's my lens right there. Icon. So there we are. And this is their shortest, thinnest 3/8 ratchet. And I'm like, you know what? People give Harbor Freight a bunch of crap. It's a $30 ratchet. It looks nice. I do have Harbor Freight tools, I'll admit. Call me out on the street, I might deny it. But in here, I'll admit it. So this was the one I was kind of looking at. Bought it, 30 bucks. High for me, but what the heck, right? Brought it in. This thing is heavy. You could club somebody with this thing. This thing is light. And again, same problem, 92 teeth, something like that, versus 60. So that's kind of what I'm learning is the trade-off is you get higher tooth count, but the heads get bigger and they get thicker. I like this guy still. So I surrendered, and give you an idea, because as we all know, we have our favorites, right? And this was just mine. It just fit the bill. So a whole lot of eBay searching later. Yes, I did find it. That is the company. That is what it is. It is I don't think that's even gonna focus, 60 tooth. So I have a favorite ratchet back and a spare one for parts. And should the company ever decide to respond to my emails or phone calls, I'd love to buy a rebuild kit and just keep using that one because the rubber handles held up better than I would have expected. I don't know how many, well, I wasn't very kind to it. Now that I love it so much, I realize I should have been nicer to it. But it's been banged on, you know, wrench over the handle, pry barred on, pipe pry barred on. It's held up really well. So, video's getting a little long. We'll go ahead and shut this off. But over in the corner, you can't see this, but there's a big stack of boxes. They are open, so it won't be a true mystery unboxing, but I didn't open them, so I don't know what's in them. Well, I ordered them, so I know what's in them. Should be in them. But we have another project coming in. The rest of the parts should be here next week. It'll be our first unboxing on this channel. About a $6,000 worth of just car parts. So open them up with me. Let's go through it, talk about it. I'll give you a hint. It's a 68 Mustang. It's what's coming in the shop. Nice little 289 C4 car. 85,000 miles, and yes, I'm gonna hack up an 85,000 mile car. Y'all can burn the house down later, but there's a lot of reasons why we're doing this car. It has been molested long before we got it, so it's not original. But nice little car that we're gonna do some upgrades to. Would love for y'all to click, like, and subscribe. Yeah, there we go. Get the words out today. Follow the video series. Maybe you'll find it interesting. I'll give you a hint. I've never gotten car parts that came with bacon before. These car parts came with bacon. Yeah. Speaking of bacon, I hear breakfast calling. Let's finish this project. Little tech tip for you while you're working on cars in tight places, like this carburetor, this 600 style Holley fuel line on the driver's side, up where the front accelerator pump is. It's kind of a tight little hole to be in, and my socket is kind of stuck. Nuts loose, completely off. Can't get my fingers in there to grab it. Could go grab a pair of those pliers, but a good tech tip is a nice magnet like this one I picked up from Harbor Freight, not very expensive. It's got a good pull weight to it. I just stick it to the side and it brings the socket and the nut together. That way I didn't have to worry about dropping them and chasing them down inside the intake. So just to show you again, back one on this side, not as tight, a little easier to reach in and grab. However, I don't want to risk dropping that nut. So I'm just gonna reach in there and grab it, pull them both out together. So back to tech tips again. Still working on this carburetor. Had a washer on this one I couldn't get off. Again, use a little magnet, comes right up. Just little things that make life easier, and I'm all about making life easier. While we're talking about getting those little washers and parts off, I know it seems trivial. Some people just pull the carburetor and catch them as they come off. I've been guilty of that myself. However, you don't want these pesky little things to fall, to have to chase them, or even worse, fall down inside the engine. All right, guys, so here we go, all installed. We've made sure we had fuel pressure up. Bowls are showing fuel in it. No adjustments. Let's just turn the key and see what happens. Hope that it works. Yeah, see what happens. runs a whole lot better. Thank you for making it to the end of the video. If you like what we're doing, if you have interest in this, hit the like button, subscribe to our videos. If you have questions, general comments, suggestions, or just want to know more about the shop, please comment below. Thanks again for watching. Hope to see you in future videos.